The purpose of this presentation will be to explore different management styles. At the end of the presentation, attendees should be able to identify different management styles and understand when and how to use each of the styles, as well as knowing the importance of directing, discussing, and delegating to maximize the effectiveness of their leadership. I'm going to begin by talking about 5 different principles of management. The 5 principles that we will discuss are planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling. So let's begin by looking at planning. A manager in this function will set a direction to determine what needs to be accomplished. It will mean setting priorities and determining targets for performance. Planning involves the maintenance and organizational approach of achieving strategic objectives. To meet objectives, managers may develop plans like a business or a marketing plan. Strategic planning is an organization's process of defining its strategy or direction and making decisions about how to allocate its resources to pursue the strategy. When pursuing strategic planning, organizations should ask themselves, what do they do? Who are they doing it for? And how can they excel or be better than their competitors? The execution of the planning function requires a comprehensive understanding of a vision, mission, set of values, and general strategy. So the key components of strategic planning include an understanding of the firm's vision, mission, values, and strategies. Vision. This outlines what the organization wants to be or how it wants the world in which it operates to see them. It's a long-term view and concentrates on the future. For example, a charity working with the poor might have a vision statement that reads, "A world without poverty." Mission. It defines the fundamental purpose of an organization or an enterprise, describing why it exists and what it does to achieve its vision. For example, this same charity might have a mission statement as providing jobs for the homeless and unemployed. And then values. These are beliefs that are shared among the stakeholders of an organization. Values drive an organization's culture and priorities and provide a framework in which decisions are made. For example, knowledge and skills are the keys to success. Give a man bread and feed him for a day. But if you teach him to farm, you feed him for life. These examples, values place priorities of self-sufficiency over shelter. And then strategy. Strategy, narrowly defined, means the art of the general, a combination of the goals for which the firm is striving and the means by which it is seeking to get there. Organizing. Organizing management function is an overall design of the organization or the unit for which the manager is responsible. It will mean designating and reporting relationships and patterns for interaction. Positions will need to be determined, teams assigned, and authority distributed. Responsibility will be a critical factor of this function. The organizing function typically follows the planning stage. Specific organizing duties involve the assignment of tasks, the grouping of tasks into departments, the assignment of authority, and the allocation of resources across the organization. The authority is the manager's formal and legitimate right to make decisions, to issue orders, and allocate resources to achieve the organization's objectives. Type of authorities include line, functional, staff, and we're going to speak about those a little bit further. The tall structure, a management structure characterized by an overall narrow span of management, a relatively large number of hierarchy levels, tight control, and reduced communication overhead. Decision making can be quite rapid, and it occurs from the top down. And then the flat structure. This is a management structure characterized by a wide span of control and relatively few hierarchy levels, loose control and ease of delegation. Decision making is often slower as it involves a high degree of integration across the company. And then centralization. This is the location of decision-making authority near top organizational level, similar to a tall structure. This expedites decision-making from the top down. And then decentralization. The location of decision-making authority is relatively evenly dispersed across the company. This works well when creativity and independent operations create value for the organization. And then staffing or talent management. Staffing function will be to acquire, recruit, and retain human resources. It will also require developing and maintaining the workforce for different strategies and tactics, and management must have the required number of types of motivated employees. Healthcare organizations are dependent on individual human performance. Employees are viewed as strategic assets who can create competitive advantage. Securing and retaining talent to do the job is a critical factor in staffing management. Leadership is the process by which an individual motivates others and mobilizes resources to achieve a goal. It is also both a set of behaviors that can be learned and a set of traits that can be nurtured. Leadership is a relationship between followers and those who inspire and provide direction for them. It involves emotional ties and commitments. And then leaders who demonstrate persistence, tenacity, determination, and communication skills will bring out the same qualities in their groups. Positive reinforcement is an example of a leadership technique. This reinforcement occurs when a positive stimulus is presented in response to a behavior, increasing the likelihood of that behavior in the future. And controlling. Controlling is in reference to monitoring staff activities, performance, and taking appropriate action for any necessary corrective action to increase performance. Control is a continuous and forward-looking process. It's designed to objectively benchmark operations with a projected plan or projections. The four basic elements in the control system are the characteristic or condition to be controlled, the sensor, the comparator, and the activator. The activator. This is the corrective action taken to return the system to an expected output, such as the actual person, device, or method used to direct corrective inputs into the operating system may take a variety of forms. It may be like a hydraulic controller positioned by a solenoid or an electric motor in response to an electronic error signal. Or it could be an employee directed to rework the parts that failed to pass the quality inspection. Or it could even be a school principal who decides to buy additional books to provide for an increased number of students. The directing style focuses on initiating action through effective leadership and motivation of subordinates, as well as communication with those associates. The directing style promotes learning through listening or following directions. With this style, the manager tells the employee what to do, how to do it, and when it needs to be done. Suggestions for using the directing style. Start with the big picture. Provide the context before launching into specifics, and be precise. State clearly what you expect. Provide the right amount of detail. Always interact in an adult manner, and don't sugarcoat the message. The delegating style promotes learning through empowerment. With this style, the manager assigns tasks that employees work on independently, either individually or in groups. Communication occurs as the manager assigns tasks for employees to tackle independently or in groups. Employees listen and ask follow-up questions until they fully understand what they need to deliver. Coaching, decision-making, and recognition also need to take place. Suggestions for using the delegating style. Assign projects that are challenging but not overwhelming. When employees are empowered, they are most inspired and motivated to show what they can do. It's important not to overwhelm, as some may become anxious. You increase the probability of success for all employees by expressing confidence in their ability to get the job done. And then be precise, and then establish check-in dates. Managers need to get periodic updates from employees to ensure that the appropriate progress is being made. Discussing style promotes learning through interaction. The manager encourages critical thinking and lively discussion by asking employees questions about the problem. Communication in the discussing style is two-way between the manager or the employee, or multi-way among the employees or among employees and manager. The manager asks challenging questions and listens carefully to an employee's comments. Coaching occurs when the manager asks questions that require employees to evaluate their own performance. Good questions to ask are things like, how do you think you did, and what could you have done better? And the decision making occurs when the manager and employees collaborate and work together to define problems. Suggestions for using the discussing style. Start by asking general questions. What do you think? Asking the employees for their ideas and opinions increases their engagement in the learning process. What would you do in this situation is more effective at promoting discussion than a question that aims for a single right answer. Start with general questions and then get more specific. Resist the temptation to immediately answer your own questions or give your own opinions. Prepare your questions in advance and don't allow one or two employees to dominate the discussion. And then promote broad participation by asking each employee to comment on a question or a topic. And then recognition should be given to employees who express their ideas clearly. In addition, employees should be praised for thoughtful observations. So in summary, variety leads to effectiveness. There is no one best management style. Effective managers use a variety of styles, and they know how and when to choose the most appropriate one for the specific situation. In essence, the three management styles boil down to this. Direct, tell employees what to do. Discuss, ask questions and listen. And then delegate or empower your employees. So thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation today. I will be available should anyone have any questions. Thank you so much.